Terry and me and remind your friend for life to do a breast self-exam.
You can make a difference in the fight against breast cancer. WZZM 13's Friends for Life.
Oh, Juliet, I dug deep for that
you did,
one.
Valerie.
That was one of the first promos that you taped with your friend Terry. You know, it really is important for our viewers to know that you started this campaign at 13 on Your Side 25 years ago. How different was it then? Because you know what?
Goodness.
We were even afraid to say breast on TV.
And I thought that people might be offended when we say it. So the station said, you know, we want to start this campaign about breast health, breast cancer awareness. We want you to be the person to promote it. Terry, my friend for life, we grew up together. We knew each other since we were 12 in Pennsylvania, and she moved here and had a baby and had felt a lump, but it was fine. It was you know, nothing. But that's how it all started. She was my friend for life. And so at the time, you know, people did not say breast on TV.
No.
They didn't. You know, Betty Ford was one of the trailblazers who talked about breast cancer and kind of opened it up. But we had no idea how it was going to be received. And I said to the management, I said, if one person does a breast self-exam and finds a lump, then it's worth it. Let's do it. Here we are.
And guess what, Juliet? There was one person who actually did, you know, have that campaign that says that you saved her life.
Yes, and her name is Val O'Brien. She lives in Muskegon, and she actually saw that very promo that we just saw of Terry and me. And so we do these, we remind these people to do this. And Val saw that Friends for Life reminder on October 13th of 1998. She did her very first breast self-exam that night, and Valerie, she found a lump that turned out to be an aggressive breast cancer.
Oh my gosh.
I had to have a lumpectomy and chemotherapy and radiation. And I continued to work through all of that. I was very lucky and very blessed, but not everybody is that way. And if you do a monthly self breast exam, you will know when you find a lump. Your heart just sinks and you know it's there. It saved my life.
And I just started crying because I just knew.
And you know, that's the thing about knowing you're normal, because if you do a monthly breast self-exam and you find something that's not normal, you'll know it. Coming up at 6 o'clock, we'll hear more from Val, 23 years to the day that she found that lump through her breast self-exam, and what she wants others to know about breast health, breast cancer awareness, and your families too.
Yes, and I think that's one of the things that I'd enjoyed about when I joined the campaign with you about 10 years ago, was that we really did kind of pivot a little bit from just the self-breast exam to knowing you're normal, because there are so many other things about your body that you need to know when it comes to breast cancer. And so that's what we've really been hammering home.
And that's the role that you have played that has been so important to our community, because you have delved deep into the health issues and to the things that we didn't really know much about breast cancer. It was on the surface, but we have learned, and technology and medical technology has changed so much since you've been reporting on it.
And we have so much research that's happening right here in Grand Rapids through the Van Andel Institute and through our wonderful hospitals and our teaching schools. And you know, one of the biggest things I think, though, is the gene testing for the BRCA1 and BRCA2. I mean, that has changed people's lives, giving them an idea of what they can expect going forward. And also 3D mammography, I think, is huge too.
It's
we now
so
have
big.
a state law in place for women who have dense breasts that they need to get this particular type of mammogram.
And that's one of the things with women with dense breasts, because a lot of times the lumps were being missed because they had such dense breasts. And these mammographies have really been a game changer for saving lives for women, you know, everywhere.
Yes, you know, and they've changed that age from up and down, but they're now back to 40, and it's very important for us to remind women that, you know, it's back to when you're 40, unless you have risk factors, then it's before that, you know, that you need to get that mammogram every single year.
You really do. And you know, think of the women that you have met and you've interviewed over the years too, who are living and have families, and who might not have if it wasn't for A, the medical technology and the advances, and B, people talking about it.
And beyond that, though, I think what this campaign does, you have so many women who reach out to you and check in with you and say, since you've done my story, here's what's going on. Valerie writes you an email every day.
Every year on the 13th of October, she always says, you saved my life. But really, Valerie, you saved so many other women's lives by being so candid and sharing and talking about it. I mean, I am so appreciative of Valerie and all the women we've met over the years as well.
Yes, they really have been wonderful. And of course, we are not done celebrating 25 years of 13 Friends for Life. Meredith Jahar has a story of how a family of sisters got tested together and how it impacted their lives. That's coming up in the 5:30 half hour.
So many good stories to come yet.
Yeah, there certainly have. And you know what? There's some pretty big breakthroughs when it comes to the fight against breast cancer, and that includes the gene testing.
And 13 on Your Side's Meredith Tahar will have the story about those sisters. And also, it's not just women who get breast cancer, men can get it too. We'll have that story.